Well, thank you everybody for joining us. I am thrilled to be sitting here with Josh Knudsen, who is our Director of Gravity Gaming Solutions. One of the solutions that falls under his umbrella is this immersive reality solution that we're going to be talking about today. Unfortunately, our co-host that was supposed to join us from Immersive Reality had a family emergency, so it's just going to be Josh and I running today. But I think we'll do a decent job of answering any questions you might have and covering material. And if there's any follow-ups, we'll definitely reach out. So with that, I'm going to hand the floor over to you, Josh, and let you get us started.
Perfect. Thanks, Anna. Um, just a real quick agenda for today. We're going to just do a brief introduction to ByteSpeed, kind of let you guys know what we're all about, and then we'll dive into the immersive reality platform and talk about some of the impacts that can come from adding this solution to your school. At ByteSpeed, a little bit about our background. We started in 1999, building old, big beige desktop towers for a school district in South Dakota. And over the 26-year history of the company now, we've added a ton of different solutions, really centered around the IT needs of school districts and organizations that we fit and gel really well with. We have access and work in all 50 states across the country. We've got great team members that support schools and businesses all over the country. Some of the big things that we've been known for over the years, definitely that custom built hardware, desktops, servers, reselling, laptops, networking equipment. The list goes on and on and on. And immersive reality and VR solutions are definitely part of that. Um, a couple of nice big claims to fame. We were a top 25 Intel system integrator, and continue to have really strong relationships with manufacturing and partner companies all over the world, actually. Immersive Reality, they're based in the UK. We're excited to bring their solution here stateside and be one of their partners here in the US. Um, as a company, I think it's really neat to work for. I kind of colloquially will say is that we're punching way above our weight class, right? We're a small Midwestern company with kind of that Midwestern values. There's about 80 of us here in Moorhead, Minnesota, but we're doing things that are really really cool all over the country. Our vision and kind of the reason why ByteSpeed was founded was to really give that long-term customer support, be a true partner and someone who's right alongside with you over the course of your IT journey. We like to say that we're an extension of your tech team, whether that's folks in the actual IT department that are working on devices, or curriculum instructors that are using really powerful technology in the classroom. We're right there with you. We want to see you succeed, and part of the thing that makes us so passionate about what we do is the stories and the work that we get to do with the school districts and the impact that they're making, like I said, all over the country. Um, as far as like I mentioned, we're kind of known for desktops and servers. We've been doing that for 25 plus years, but the portfolio has definitely grown over the course of our history. And I mentioned that I'm the Gravity Gaming Solutions Director here. So my team's responsible for esports and virtual reality and drones and flight sim. And I get to cover all the fun stuff. And then, the rest of our sales staff and solutions directors, they're really great at all of these other solutions that support, what our customers are looking for. And definitely always looking to add to this list and make sure that we're meeting the needs of the folks that we're working with. And I don't know, Anna, if there's anything that you want to mention about kind of the full lineup of what we do.
I think you're right. You get to handle all the cool stuff. And I think really just thinking like classroom integration and innovation, that's Josh's world. And we are very strategic about the solutions that we add. So a lot of companies try to be, experts at all and really end up being experts at none. And we are very strategic about how we onboard and add solutions, trying to provide things that add a lot of value into the school and into the classroom, but also knowing that we can't really add that value if we support everything. So you'll get a lot more resources from ByteSpeed around each of the solutions that we're selling. So yeah, I love it. You do have the most fun part, Josh, without a doubt.
How can we help with all these great solutions? I think is a great question, and it really starts with kind of that consultative, no pressure, kind of webinars type of presentations, or jumping on the phone and talking through what you're looking for. We really want to be that resource center first, and it kind of goes from there, right? We want to make sure that whatever you're looking for, if it's a solution that we've got, we want to make sure it's the right one. And if that means pulling in other partners, like Anna mentioned, or other specialists, we really want to make sure that we're doing and looking at solutions that make sense for what you're looking at. And then from procurement to installation and everything in between, we want to really make sure that you're taken care of and you've got a team supporting you. Whether it's the sales staff, the solutions folks here, our help desk and RMA team, when it comes to that support, all here in Moorhead, Minnesota. You get that friendly Midwestern accent when you pick up the phone, and we're definitely here to make sure that your downtime is limited and you have the resources from start to finish that will make sure that you're successful long term.
I think it's important to know that for us, we don't like the transactional approach to the way that we're engaging with people. So we really shy away from that and are looking for that complete partnership. And I think that's really what this slide is really about. And part of the reason Josh and I are still working at this organization after all of these years.
Yeah, absolutely. I some other things that make us unique, the big thing is that kind of like that non-transactional way about doing things, right? We really do care about the customers that we're serving, and we want to make sure that we're giving you the resources to be successful. We're making an impact and doing things in a timely and efficient manner. Like I mentioned, we're kind of a smaller company, but we're big enough to fit a lot of the needs that you might have. And I think that's something that makes us really unique in this space. And we've got the internal staff that are really experts. Some of the smartest people that I know work for ByteSpeed, which is really cool. We've got those in-house people that are really, really great at their craft and able to kind of be those experts to help our customers and make sure that you guys have what you need. We do a bunch of things on the manufacturing side that give us a really kind of unique and custom feeling approach to how we go about things. Quick turnaround on quotes and information, and we do custom imaging and our 5-year warranty for desktops and lifetime tech support. All these things that are really important for your day to day. We want to make sure that those are things that we've taken really great care to make sure that they're part of our solution lineup. That's enough about ByteSpeed and us. We can get into kind of the meat and potatoes for today. There's that Midwestern, synonym from me, but we're here to talk about immersive reality. This really, really awesome solution that we were introduced to a little over a year ago. Like you said, they're a small team out of the UK that's doing some really, really cool things with immersive and virtual reality technology. And kind of like the boilerplate on this is it's VR without the headset, which I think is a really cool way to kind of look at things. ByteSpeed's had a long history with virtual reality, selling everything from tethered headsets way back in the day to doing standalone stuff and XR type of solutions now. It's been part of our history, and moving forward, immersive reality kind of presents this next step in that technology. I think one of the big barriers to entry for a lot of schools is, with traditional VR, you're limited to how many headsets that you have in the building. But with this solution, it kind of takes away the need for those headsets and can kind of say, if you've got a room with some blank walls, we can set up some equipment to give every student in the class that same type of experience, which is super, super cool. We've known for a long time that students learn in a lot of different ways. What works for me might not have worked for Anna, and might not work for you. And so, if there's different ways that we can engage those students in the classroom and give them a different way to experience that lesson plan, or, take a different look at that concept in a way that might be non-traditional. we've seen the impact that it can make in those students and of their learning and kind of where they can take things. So being able to offer an immersive space that gives them a tactile look and feel at different things that you're looking at, I think is a super cool experience, not only for like smaller students or like your kind of like your lower end elementary. Really, this is great all the way up to your juniors and seniors in high school. We'll talk a little bit about the career exploration aspect of this later, where I think this makes a ton of sense for those kind of older students that are looking to move on to the next portion of their life. Um, uh, it is a transformative aspect of it. The PowerPoint that we're using some slides from is from the immersive team, and I'm a little young to get the Star Trek reference. Don't be mad at me here. Um, but having seen one of these spaces in person, it is like stepping into a new world. It is really something special when you can kind of set this up and really bring yourself out of that traditional learning environment where you're sitting in a desk to actually standing in the space with the content that you're learning about around you. So 20 years from now, a lot of classrooms have the ability to look like this or function in some way, shape, or form. And I just dropped a link to our immersive reality page on the ByteSpeed website. Definitely take a look at that. It kind of spells out some things and has some other cool examples too. And it is a good page to bookmark as we're going through it. So like I said, VR for a long time has been a tool that's transformed education. My wife is a fifth grade teacher here in Rosemont, Minnesota, and the way that she interacts with her fifth graders, is constantly evolving because those students learn in different ways. There's different, curriculum that forces you to kind of think differently, or different strategies to get those kids really to get the maximum amount out of whatever you're teaching. And so, immersive spaces like an immersive reality room can really pull you into that next level of learning. Um, like we mentioned, this is great for all age groups. Different content is available for your younger students all the way up to, your higher, high school type level students. And really it comes down to the gamification of that space. With a VR headset, you can load up, one of my favorite VR stories is from a school district we work with in Kentucky. Shannon, the teacher, would pull up a fishing game on a VR headset. And with fourth and fifth graders, you're teaching math skills as you're fishing. So you cast out your reel, you'll pull in the fish based on its weight and what it is. You get a certain amount of currency. So there's kind of these like really neat, and I'm playing a fishing game, right? But I am learning money skills, and you're flexing those math muscles to be able to kind of learn in a different way. And it's fun for the student. It gets them interacting and engaged in that lesson. Where if you were just like, hey, I've written on a whiteboard, here's the problems that we have to solve. A student in the desk is probably going to daydream or not be as involved in that lesson. Where, if you have this kind of gamification, whether it's in a headset or an immersive room like this, you really are getting that experiential learning that's helping them kind of be more active in their education, which is a great thing. Um,
I'll just jump in. I think that there's an interesting thing happening right now in education, and that we all understand that differentiated learning is important. We understand more about it than we've ever understood, like that your approach has to be different and you're trying to reach a variety of different students. But at the same time, it feels harder to reach kids. And so finding ways to be creative and reach them on a different level with solutions like this is just unbelievable. The other challenges that we're facing in education that are really kind of standing in our way of moving the needle the way that we would like to is we can't just throw everybody on a bus and run to field trips like we used to. Transportations are an issue. Subs are at a shortage. So our ability to provide some of those transformative experiences to students are more limited today in today's day and age than they were 10 years ago even. The ability to take the kids somewhere amazing and give them this kind of experience without leaving the school, it just really pulls down barriers and provides some different options that we wouldn't have without a solution like this.
yeah, absolutely. As far as content, we've talked kind of the immersive reality space is typically a blank classroom with kind of like projectors and sensors set up to allow content to be projected on the walls and then the students to actually be able to interact with that content. I think the super cool thing about working with a company like Immersive Reality is the breadth of content is huge. Over 700 different scenes that allow that student to have that 360 experience where they really are in the content. So there's a couple of really cool screenshots coming up that will show. But matching up, if we're doing a reading lesson, we can kind of find some content that will allow them to be immersed in maybe the story that they're reading. If it's a science or STEM type of environment, maybe it's like Anna said, instead of loading up a bus and going out to the prairie grasslands here in North Dakota, we can load that up in a 360 environment in our immersive reality space and be able to, see what it was like on the prairie 100 years ago, when things looked different, or kind of be able to access spaces and content that is just not feasible in today's day and age, whether it's due to cost, accessibility, you name it. The great thing about the immersive reality platform is it's all controlled from a tablet. You can load up these scenes, you can load up different activities, all from one location, which is great. There is kind of that CTE element of it as well, and like I said, we'll kind of get to a more CTE specific thing here in a second. But I think that being able to have all of this content at the touch of a button is really, really cool. And gives you the flexibility to use the solution for more than just one thing. I think we got into a little bit of a trap when VR first started of like, okay, I'm gonna get a pig dissection in VR, and this is my thing. That's what we're gonna do, and that's the main use case for the headset, but you're missing out on so much more that technology can do. A platform like immersive reality, you're not pigeonholed into just being able to do one thing. You've got this massive library of content that you can say, okay, early morning the science teacher is going to book out the room, and in the afternoon we're going to have the history teacher use it and load up a battlefield that they're talking about in US history or something like that. There's multiple staff members in the school, multiple different content areas or subjects that can really utilize the platform and use it for a lot of different reasons. Other things kind of about the content portal, which is great, is I mentioned there are kind of interactive touch sensors that come alongside the projectors and the overall setup with this. As a teacher, you can modify those hotspots to be able to say, okay, let's load up the solar system, like the picture on the thing here. And if a student goes over and touches the sun, you'll have information that will pop up about the planet that you touched, and you can modify that content and kind of tweak it to be really honed in on the lesson plan that you're trying to teach. And that goes for a biology lesson about farm animals. You can have content loaded up about a cow and a pig and all these other things. There's music that can go along with it. So there is kind of that audio aspect of things too. It's not just a visual element. You do have kind of that extra dimension of sound being a part of the overall experience, which just even helps with the immersiveness of kind of the room itself. It's not just like, oh, hey, we're looking at a picture on the wall. It's really you are in that space, and the audio definitely helps with that. And then being able to do whiteboard function, if you're a teacher and you have different standards that you're trying to meet with your lesson planning, you can really kind of use I guess the flexibility is the best way to put it with each one of these scenes to really tailor that content based on what you're actually teaching. I don't think like a solution like this is ever going to replace your curriculum, but it is a hell of a tool and a hell of an add-on to really enhance what you're doing day to day with your normal lesson plan. So I think the content portal, having all of that at your fingertips, is a really powerful way to supplement what you're already doing in the classroom and take your lectures or those hands-on type of learning to the next level. Um,
Josh,
Practical. Yeah, go ahead, Anna.
can you guys see the PowerPoint? I hit a button. I'm afraid I messed up. the view on there. Can you guys still see it?
Um,
Or did I just do it on my own end?
I think it might be on your end.
Okay,
Um,
good.
looks like I'm still sharing. Yep.
Okay. Just making sure. If anybody's, if, okay,
Yep.
thank you,
Tessa,
Tessa.
Tessa, thank you. Yep. Perfect. Um, so I actually some practical applications, Anna mentioned field trips, and I think that that's a huge part of what this can be used for. Like I said, there's a lot of different things that we've seen immersive reality kind of explain, like this is a great use case for this. If you've got sensory students or, students with special needs, this is a great way to kind of pull them into an environment that's calming and can kind of reset their educational experience. My mom's been a para in middle schools for a very long time, and a solution like this when they have a student who's elevated and they can kind of separate them or kind of bring them into an environment that can calm them down and really give them a focused environment to where, like I said, they learn differently. Their needs are going to be different than your average student. Having a space like this is perfect for them to be able to kind of get into a space where they feel comfortable and they can kind of get back to that baseline that you would like them to be at. So it's that safe learning environment that can kind of help out in those type of scenarios. Um, like I mentioned, with the flexibility of what you can actually project onto the walls, there's so much personalization that can happen with this. If you've got students that are, maybe they were out of class for a week and either, they were out sick or on vacation or whatever, and they're coming back and they have missed lessons, you can kind of personalize that environment to kind of catch them up and use it to kind of rehash what you might have talked with the larger student body or your larger class with. um, you know Absolutely, there's kind of like the touch and feel area of this where that STEM learning is a big thing that could happen, right? You could run videos or simulations or areas where you have chemical reactions going on, or your hotspots could be different molecules that are expanded out and you can look at. So there's a lot of different just tools. I think of this as such a flexible tool in the toolbox for your teachers to be able to have this immersive space that's four walls that all have content on them that is accessible to your students. I think is a really powerful thing.
Not just accessible too, Josh, but actually interactive. So
Yeah,
you can touch and interact with the environment that you're in. It's a really neat solution.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so just a couple of like real world examples. If I don't think any of us have the budget to take like an elementary school class to Africa, right? But being able to say, okay, let's load up the savannah area and let's be in a space with elephants walking all around us. That's not something that I can do in person, but it is kind of like a really cool tactile experience that you can have your students, interacting with. And I think it's a little bit of an extreme example, obviously, but like you can see that like this would be an environment that would really make sense with a solution like this, and being able to do things that you just can't do in the our day and age now, again, like we said, due to budgets or just physical access, things like that. A lot of different cool things. You can bring a group of students to a dairy farm and have a guest speaker come in and talk about what it's like to be and work on in that environment, right? And have the students surrounded by heavy machinery that would be a little bit more dangerous and not really be able to bring your students to, or have them experience things in a different way rather than just like having to miss school and load up a bus and go to a spot where you might not be able to get. So you can pair this content with other things that you're doing, whether it's guest speakers or guest lecturers or things like that. Ways to kind of involve the community alongside the school and kind of foster that relationship, which is something that we're trying to do all the time, right? It's bigger than just our classroom, and I think that this is a really cool example of a way to bring in experts and folks from around your district that can lend their expertise and their experiences to your lesson planning and really make a big impact with those students and kind of show them a world that they might not have known was out there. Um, the we mentioned a couple of things, on the CTE side of things. One of the biggest drivers for VR and immersive technology right now is career exploration. And, you know, at 17, 18 years old, there's very few of us who I think know what they want to do with their lives when they, quote unquote, grow up. And I mean, even earlier than that, there's students that are looking for their career path or what they would like to do after high school, and exposing them to a lot of different environments has become a really great way to kind of steer their interests in one way or another. CareerView XR has been a huge platform, for our customers to be able to access almost 100 different jobs from all walks of life. And it's kind of filled that like a 3D job tour, job shadow type experience, and kind of be able to say like, okay, let's look at a lot of different jobs, and if there's one that you kind of gravitate more towards, and you say, okay, yeah, I went through this experience, I on a construction job site, and this to me looked like this is absolutely what I want to do, or this is something that like really interests me, and I can maybe continue my exploration of that career by looking at internships or looking at more research into that career. What education would I need to be able to go and do this job? So partnering that kind of career exploration type of content with the immersive reality platform of like I can have a job site anywhere in this room and I can really go through and walk through that environment and say, okay, one of my favorite career view experiences is the wind turbine tech. It would be you couldn't bring a high school student to go walk on top of a wind turbine, but you could put them inside of an immersive reality room and they can load that experience up and they can say, wow, I'm afraid of heights. I don't want to do this job. I know that that's not a career path that I'm going to walk down. And vice versa, maybe it's you want to work in medicine, and doing like a job shadow in a hospital has all these extra things that there's patient confidentiality and medical records and all these kind of like red tape loopholes that you're not able to do kind of like a real day in the life of those type of careers, but you could load up a simulation in the immersive reality platform and be in the operating room with those doctors and those medical professionals. So it gives you kind of an experience where you're in it. And I think that's the biggest takeaway from this platform is that you really are engaging students in a such a cool way that's beyond just learning about things in a textbook. Yeah, here's the wind turbine one. This would not be something that I would like to do. I'm not necessarily afraid of heights. I fly all the time, but I don't want to be strapped to a hunk of metal a couple 100 feet up in the air by, one carabiner club. So I will not be going back to school to be a wind turbine tech. But, if you've got students that are really interested in mechanical engineering and have a passion for doing cool stuff that not many people are able to get an experience, this could be a way to show them that experience in a very cool way. um, you know, Alongside just kind of being in those experiences, you are able to share a lot of that authenticity of what a day in the life is. You're able to see, there's a forklift driver. What skills do I need to be able to go and run around a warehouse in a forklift? Or look at the things that I would need to go to school for or learn to be able to do that job. And it's a safe and controlled environment. I at any time can pause that simulation and walk out the door if I need to. There's not, a giant machine running around where I could get in the way and potentially get hurt. There's a lot of really cool benefits to being able to do these type of exploration experiences in a space where at the press of a button, we can change it from one thing to another. And anything else? You've actually been in one of these rooms before.
Yeah.
From a firsthand experience, like what was it like actually being in that space? We can sit here and talk about it as much as we want, but actually being in it and touching it and experiencing it. Do you want to talk about kind of what that was like for you?
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things I'll just say is that I love virtual reality. I think it's just an incredible experience to put on a headset and be transported to a new place. But there's some challenges with virtual reality. You've got headset management, there's definitely, and you can't go into virtual reality in the same way as a group. The neat thing about this immersive room is that you can walk a whole classroom in there. And you're all in there seeing and experiencing the exact same thing in live time together without anything on your body. So you walk in and you can easily, there's a tablet, you can easily flip amongst different experiences. You can interact and touch and change, and it is really, really cool. Um, the thing that kind of gets me is the sheer accessibility of the space, because you think about there are children that will grow up in one place and never leave, whether that's inner city or out in a rural place. That will be what they experience for their lives. And solutions like this really allow you to take that to the next level and to provide those different experiences and maybe broaden a horizon for a student that would never even have that kind of experience. So I think that that's a tremendous opportunity. Um, the career experiences are probably the most exciting in my mind. So the career experiences are, we work very closely with CareerView. And the thing I like about the CareerView integration that Josh was talking about is you have the immersive piece, but there is also an online portion and a virtual reality piece. So you have several different ways that you can incorporate it into the conversations that you're having. And as a leader in an organization right now, Josh and I both will tell you how many times you have to say the same thing over and over again to really get that retention. It's a lot. And so being able to have like these multiple touch points with the students where you can expose them to new opportunities and cover different content and really getting people's attention and bringing them into something brand new is amazing. So very, very cool experience that you can do a bigger room or a smaller room. They have a couple of different options. There's different packages that are available. Another thing I really like about how they've got this put together is it's very turnkey. You buy the kit, you buy the solution. It has everything that you need. It has the software applications. The hardware is all put together. We can help with install, so you can actually have us come on site and do a professional room install for you. Basically, what you need to provide to be able to make this opportunity available to your students is a room with blank walls on it. So it's a very, very low lift adoption if you have this space to be able to offer this to your students is really cool.
Absolutely. There's a couple of testimonials here at the end from Immersive that they've shared, and really I think it just highlights um, how flexible and versatile that these spaces really are to be able to do a lot of different things with all age ranges, which I think is the biggest kind of benefit to a space like this is, you don't have a lot of the limitations that you would if all you were working with was a headset. You're avoiding motion sickness, you're avoiding the technical requirements of like, am I maybe old enough to understand that like this is how the controller works. With a space like the immersive reality room, you can just kind of dive into it and go right away. So um, if you've got any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat here. That's it as far as like the PowerPoint portion of today is concerned. But happy to answer any questions that you might have. If you're watching the recording on YouTube, drop those in the comments below and we'll try and get back to you on those. It's a new solution for ByteSpeed, but we're really excited about the potential that it has and being able to kind of help you from square one of like, okay, let's plan out the space. Let's look at, is this a good room to use for, the dimensions and working with you on the technology, those projectors, the sensors, the things that actually make the room go. We're kind of there to do it all, which I think is kind of nice with that. Kind of when it goes back to like that consultative approach that we talked about in the beginning, we're there to be that partner every step of the way and help you from those first initial calls of kind of like, is this a good fit for us, all the way to installing it and helping you run it for the first time. So. Yeah. Okay. Well, I haven't seen any questions or anything pull through, so we'll just say thanks so much again for joining us today, whether it was live or watching the recording. If you have any questions at all, please reach out. Sales@bytespeed.com is the best way to get a hold of any of us here at ByteSpeed, and we will see you on the next webinar. Thanks so much.
Thank you.